All right, chapter 24. We are getting so close. Here we go. Farah, we found your brother, Henrietta said. Just like that, as simply as if she was remarking on the weather or the beauty of the mirror studying Farah's hem. He'd been leaving bits of sweet cheese in random places to mark a trail, I think. We tracked him through that, smart kid in his own way. Maybe he thought lizards craved meat-eye. Not that we don't. We don't have much access to such delicacies in the sewer, you know. Every vein in Farah's body froze. What? Meat thigh. Chenna murky, as far as I could tell. You, you found my brother? Farah's voice came out in a croak. Yes, small, bite-sized. You as a boy with a short haircut and a temper hotter than a fresh chili pepper? Henrietta winked at her. Oh, we've got him. My trusty second, Sebastian Winter, is taking care of him right now. He's thin and pretty hungry. But he's got 10 fingers and 10 toes, right where they should be. He'll be waiting for you at Madame Nasira's. Farah's knees nearly buckled. Oh, Maud, her poor brother, who chewed Kuba. Apparently, he hadn't starved the whole time. He was a Mirza, of course. Maybe it was over. Maybe Farah could breathe. Maybe this entire horrible second existence was coming to an end. Ahmad was right around the corner. They had one final challenge to win. Please, let's hurry, Farah pleaded. I need to get this over with. I need to see him. Henrietta nodded kindly. I know you do, kid. I know you do. They headed down the rickety steps and descended onto the 4th level and into the grand marketplace. This one was far fancier than the souk, with smartly carved stone buildings that housed specialized individual shops. One store window displayed the finest attars, wafting a heady scent of roses and jasmine and musk out the door as a saleswoman, draped in silks and jewels, reached out to passerby, offering a drop of perfume for delicate wrists. Another shop was filled with cascades of fabrics, reminding Farah of her mother's favorite sari store in Jackson Heights, the pop of bright red, yellow, pink, and green silks fluttering off that cooling evening breeze. Essie stopped to gawk at another window that featured a model twirling inside, covered head to toe in a long flowing lenga, complete with embroidered jacket and flower print hijab. Farah, you think we could stop and look for a minute? She could see Essie's hand reaching into the pouch that held the rest of their funds. Wouldn't your mother love to see you in that? Alex, meanwhile, had marched ahead to a shop filled with rugs in the traditional Eastern style, hand-woven boiled wool in deep burgundies and bright rose. The most extraordinary thing about these carpets was not the colors or the craft. It was that the shopkeeper had climbed right onto one and gone for a gleeful spin. Come on, kids, focus, Henrietta Peel announced, pointing farther down the path to their final destination. She stopped in front of a small storefront called Sandesh's Sweet Shop. It was brightly lit and bustling with customers who hovered near display cases filled with a rainbow of delicious sweet treats. Bright yellow ladus, both the grainy kind made of chickpea flour and the crunchy ones made of fried bundi bites. Pretty pink chum-chum sandwiches with their sugar and coconut coatings, enveloping a thick, luscious cream center. Toasty brown gulab jamuns, deep-fried donuts soaked in rose-scented sugar syrup. Every type of Bangladeshi sweet was wrapped up and ready in gift boxes marked with swirling patterns or tinseled toppers, gold and silver ribbons, or sparkly rich red paper. Her friends were drooling, but Farah had an ache nuzzling its way into her jaw just looking at the treats. They were far too sweet for her. She preferred her mother's savory and spicy snacks, the various arrays of vegetable pakora that was fried on Ramadan nights to break their fast, potato and pea-filled samosas, a crunchy, cool pad pea chaat doused in yogurt and tamarind chutney. Clearly, though, whatever challenge faced them now would mean a sweet nibble or two, whether she liked it or not. step right up, the man behind the counter chanted on repeat. You're in for a treat, my sweets, my sweet. You're in for a treat, my sweets. Clearly, this odd rhyming meant he was part of this new challenge. Can I get a bundu ladu and some gulab jamun? Essie said, pushing herself to the front of the counter and waving coins at the man. And maybe a mango lassi if you have it. And I'll have a basan ladu, Alex shouted too. The man waved them off, silencing the room. I am under strict orders by the architect of the Gauntlet himself, only to give sweets to one player, as he designated by architect's orders. Who among you is Farah Mirza? Farah stepped forward from the rest of the group, ready to fight whatever the challenge. The quiet was broken by the sudden loud chatter of a table and chairs screeching as they were dragged into the middle of the room. The man stepped out from behind the counter, carrying a tray with 3 silver-domed covered dishes on it. He rolled one arm wildly with the polished and primed class of Bangladeshi salesmen, gesturing for her to take a seat. Placing the tray on the table in front of her, he took a cloth napkin and placed it gently on her lap. The others gathered round to watch. My dear Farah Mirza, your final challenge is simple and sweet. You must remember this critical riddle if you and your friends are to defeat the architect at his own game. He has crafted this challenge specially for you. So you'd do best to recall. Don't let your tongue deceive you. Speak too soon, and you will taste the bitter instead of the sweet. What? Farah asked, completely confused. You want me to eat sweets? Well, yes, actually, that's exactly what I want you to do. But I don't really have a sweet tooth, Farah said. Maybe Essie could play instead, or Alex. Unfortunately, Farah, as I said, this particular challenge was crafted with you in mind. That means there will be no substitutions. If you don't play yourself, you'll forfeit the challenge and the whole game. I'd add, as I don't think the architect will offer a second chance again. Farah fumed. She couldn't believe she'd given this old man, this architect, the benefit of the doubt. Now, here he was mocking her, using her own weaknesses against her in this silly, rigged game. One he was clearly determined to cheat his way through. But what choice did she have? She was so close to seeing Ahmad again, so close to getting them out of here. She couldn't give up now, not without at least trying. If she couldn't win, she'd go down fighting hard, even if it meant eating some sticky, sweet treats that she could barely choke down to please her own mother on a normal occasion. No, I refuse to forfeit. Let's play. We've heard that again. Let's play. All right, the man said, flourishing his arm in the exaggerated motion. Again, then he took a flutter of cloth and wrapped it snugly around Farah's head, blindfolding her as the others gasped in confusion and concern. Let us begin. I will present to you one delectable, decidedly delicious dessert. Delectable, decidedly delicious dessert. There's that alliteration again. From the case, and you will take a taste. Once you've had a single bite, and perhaps a second for confirmation, it will be time for you to reveal to us what the treat is called. Get 3 right and you'll have won the challenge and the game itself. Get even a single wrong and the challenge and the game are both yours to lose. Do you understand, Farah Mirza? Farah nodded. The man cleared his throat, demanding a proper answer. So she said it aloud. Yes, sir, I understand. Now, I must ask for complete quiet from the audience here. And Farah must taste and determine the nature of each morsel entirely on her own. That means no help from the rest of you, especially not you, hungry red-headed girl. Farah knew Essie was pouting at this, and it made her smile despite the blindfold and the nerves and the ridiculousness of this challenge. She wanted to laugh and she wanted to cry. Her stomach was already nodding itself off in protest at the thought of what was coming next, and her tongue was throbbing. Mostly, she just wanted to win and get them out of this sand-swirled nightmare. She listened carefully as the man uncovered the first silver-domed dish and placed a small spoon in her hand. She heard Essie gasp in horror or delight. She wasn't quite sure. As the first sweet was revealed, Farah stabbed her spoon toward it, trying to scoop some out of the sweet and up and into her mouth. Instead, she encountered something swirly and crunchy, sticky syrup coating her fingers as she reached in for a closer feel. She didn't even have to taste it to know exactly what it was. She did anyway, because Amirza always abides by the rules. She said flatly, and heard Alex bust out laughing at her poor rendition of "I find this yummy" response. "Jalebi, of course," she announced, and the room broke into cheerful applause. The old man's voice boomed once again in Farah's ears. "You are correct, Farah Mirza. You have completed the first round of your fourth and final challenge in the gauntlet." He carefully placed a cup in Farah's hands. "Sip, a palate cleanser, much needed." Farah followed his instructions and sipped, nearly scalding the roof of her mouth in the process. It was coffee, black, bitter, and hot. He was right. Any trace of sugar had washed away. She listened to the clatter as he placed the next sweet in front of her, removing the lid and once again placing a spoon in her hand. She carefully dipped the spoon into the bowl and this time encountered something soft and squishy. Maybe a gulab jamun, she thought. Sort of felt donut-like. She leaned in close for a sniff. Definitely rose water. And a waft of something else. Was it cardamom? That didn't seem right. She had to taste it. She scooped up a tiny bit, placing it carefully into her mouth. It was tender and squishy, definitely cheese base. Ras malai, perhaps, with the spongy cheese-like consistency. She had to be sure. She dipped her spoon again and scooped up some of the liquid in the bowl, which would tell her exactly what she needed to know. If it was a milky sauce, it could be ras malai, but it wasn't. Farah nearly went into sugar shock as she slurped up a sticky, simple syrup. It sent shivers of sweet across her tongue. She knew this taste. She'd regretted it before, at a wedding last summer, when her uncle insisted she couldn't be the only one who hadn't sweetened her mouth. "Rasgula," Farah said. And again, the room burst into applause. "Okay, Farah Mirza, that means you have completed the second round of this challenge. One more to go, and you will have defeated not only the challenge, but the gauntlet itself. Are you ready to play?" the old man said. "Yes," Farah said, excited, determined. She was going to win. Ooh, look at that. Determined. There's that word we've been using a lot about her. He handed her a cup of coffee, and she carefully sipped. It had cooled down a touch, enough that she could enjoy the bitter as it washed away the sweet. She listened as the old man shuffled things around on the table in front of her, and as her friends, new and old, whispered in hushed tones about the challenge. "I know she can do it," she heard Essie say. Alex replied, with usual Alex understatement. Was there ever any doubt? The man uncovered the final dish, handing Farah the spoon again. This time, she dipped and encountered something hard. As she went to pick it up, it was soft to the touch. Farah was confused. Was it hard to the touch or soft? She scooped the sweet into the spoon and took a nibble. It tasted like a rasgulla, though not quite as tender. Still, it was crunchy, like a laddu. It was cheese-based, though not soft and squishy. She swallowed it and smile overtook her mouth. "I know what it is." The room grew silent, waiting for her answer. She opened her mouth to speak, and nothing came out. Was all she said. The name of the treat was on the tip of her tongue. Just that lingering taste of the dessert, just like the lingering taste of the dessert. "I forgot what it's called." "Well, you must name it to win," the old man said. Farah could lose this challenge, and she was so close to getting out of there. Was the architect messing with her memories? Could he do that? "I know what it is. I swear I do," she said. A small body flung itself at Farah, grasping the spoon and stealing the bite. "Farah, Farah, Farah, poo!" She couldn't see him, but she'd know that voice, recognize those insistent, ever-tugging hands anywhere. "Ahmad!" she shouted with glee. She reached to remove the blindfold and throw her arms around her baby brother. You remove your blindfold and you automatically lose, the old man warned. She grabbed for his little hands and kissed the sticky fingers. Ahmad, I have to finish this game. I want to play. I'll be on your team. No, Ahmad. You have to play. I have to play this game by myself. I can't have any help. Not from Essie or Alex or even you, okay? Farah said. Okay, he said with a whimper. But I'll eat more of my favorite. I like marbles. Do you find my marbles, Farah? I left them for you. You can have the best marbles, Farah. Promise. Marbles. Murky. Chenna murky, Farah said, remembering. Yes, the final dessert, Farah said confidently, is chenna murky, or cheese marbles, as my brother Ahmad likes to call them. That is correct, the old man said. The entire room, the entire street, the entire population of Pahili should have burst into applause. Instead, there was a stunned silence. Then Ahmad and Essie and Alex piled onto Farah Mirza in a massive group hug, whooping and hollering and celebrating that they had finally defeated the architect. Farah stood, removing her blindfold, and let herself be lost in her friend's warmth. It was over. It was finally over. They had won. She waved Henrietta and BJ and the rest of the crew toward her. That was sheer genius, if I do say so myself, an unfamiliar voice declared. Sebastian Winters, the lizard who now stood next to Henrietta Peel, said, giving a little nod of his head, second in command in the League of Extraordinary Resistance, and babysitter of Ahmad Mirza. Smart kid in his own way. He sure is, Farah said. He saved the day. Ahmad beamed. Can we go play now? Not so fast. The old man had returned with a golden envelope in his hand. You won the final challenge, Farah Mirza, so I have for you in my hand your final clue. Use it wisely. You'll need it. Wait, what? Essie said, already frowning. I thought we won. You won the challenge. Read the clue and you'll see that you have yet to face the architect. Now it was Farah's turn to be confused. Aren't you the architect? She asked accusingly. What would make you think that? The old man asked, an amused twinkle lighting his eyes, especially since you've already met him. Met him? Farah said. The old man grinned at her. What do you mean? Essie asked. Just what I said, the old man said. Read the clue, Farah, and let's get out of here, Alex said. Farah opened the envelope with Ahmad tugging at her full sleeves and her friends peering over her shoulder as she read. The heart of the gauntlet beats full of blood. And as if those were the magic words, the world imploded, meaning it just began to fall apart. It imploded. Okay. Who in the world is the architect? Somebody that she already had met? Not this old man. Who do you think it could be? Be thinking about that. And we are going to read tomorrow the next chapter, which will be chapter 25. Sixth graders, you have now to go back to your slide, do the next activity on your slide. Remember to record any updates to this book on your first page of your chart. Anything we've learned, we do know now a little bit more about who that architect might be. We know that he is an antagonist, and they've still got to defeat him one more time, or meet him, or challenge him one more time before they get out of there. Okay, off you go. Finish with the activities on your slide for today.